What's good, everybody? All right, day one of the NFL Combine is in the books. We had the D line and the edge rushers. They were able to showcase their skills, and there are about a handful of guys that I was really keeping my eye on. Obviously, D line is a position that we need to address, whether it be through free agency, through the draft, or via a trade, right? So it's something that we need to pay attention to. I had my eyes glued on about five guys, some early round guys, and a couple of guys that we might be able to get, on the back end of the draft, maybe in the fourth, fifth, or sixth rounds. And so I want to kind of jump on here, kind of give you my opinions. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about them. But looking at, I was some guys tested the way I thought they would. One guy completely pissed me off. I'm pissed off on how he performed, and I'll get into more details on that. And then there's another guy that really disappointed me. Let's just say he disappointed in just the way that he tested, the way that he performed, and I'll get into details on that as well. And so first and foremost, if you could, please like this video, subscribe, turn on those notifications. I'm doing my next giveaway at 2,500 subscribers. So if you want to be involved in that, hit that subscribe button, be included in that. It's my way of saying thank you and show my appreciation to all my subscribers and my supporters. And so first and foremost, what do I look for in the combine? I don't put a lot of stock in the combine. Okay, I'm going to put that out there. I put about 90% of my opinion on the player strictly on game film, what they do inside those white lines. In between those white lines is what really matter. And so a couple of things that I look for, that I specifically look for in the combine. Number one, how do they move? Do they move smoothly? Are they fluid? Do they flail their arms around a lot? There's a lot of guys when they're running, are going through those drills. They have so much wasted motion that it just slows them down. And so that's one of the things that I look for. How balanced are they? There's a lot of drills where they have guys go in and out of bags and around corners. And I want to know, how do they balance themselves when it's a change of direction, right? Are they preparing their body for the next change of direction? I want to see how balanced are they in those motions. What does their effort look like? That's one of the biggest things, right? Are they just going through the motions? And sometimes you can tell they're going through the motions, but there's other times where you can tell that their effort just isn't put out there. I mean, if you're projected as a third or fourth round guy and you're trying to work your way up to a second round or trying to improve your draft stock, I don't want to see you going through the motions. And so that's one of the things that I'm looking for. How well do you follow directions? One of the most frustrating things, and again, because of my days of coaching and stuff like that, one of my frustrating things is if you are that third, fourth, or fifth guy in line or eighth guy in line and you jump up there and you start out going the wrong direction, or you don't line up right, or you don't put your hand down properly, that frustrates me. That just concerns me a little bit, because that tells me that, one, you're not following directions in the first place. You're not paying attention. And two, you're not focused on the guys in front of you. You're not seeing what the guys in front of you are doing to help prepare you to be fully ready for your rep. And so that's one of the things that I'm looking for, is how well do you follow directions? And lastly, how well do you finish each drill, right? In almost every single drill, you have to finish past a line. You have to finish past a point on the field. Are you finishing at the line, or are you finishing through the line? That's one of the things that I look for, is what is your effort at the finish line? And so that's kind of what I look for. And one of the things that helps me is when I look at it, that helps me go back to the film if I may have missed something. If I need to go back and see what that player's effort level looks like, how they finished, maybe I got to go back to the film and really take a look at their game film. And does that change my opinion on that player? So that's kind of what I look for. And let's now look for, what am I looking for in a defensive lineman for the Las Vegas Raiders? Okay, what do we need? Number one, I want a guy that's going to create a double team. I want a guy that's going to create attention, that's going to take basically another blocker or attention off of our two premier edge rushers, right? We got Max Crosby on one side. We got Malcolm Kuntz on the other. Maybe Tyree Wilson makes a step up this year. But I want a guy that's going to create double teams, get extra blockers off of our edge rushers, off of our premier edge rushers. And then I want someone that plays with great leverage. I want to see someone that plays with great pad level and on top of that, can get off the ball quickly. If you can play with great leverage and great pad level, but get off that ball quick, you're going to be dangerous, right? You are going to be able to penetrate that offensive line and really cause havoc in that backfield. So those are the three things that I'm looking for the defensive lineman for the Las Vegas Raiders, okay? What we need out of a defensive lineman. So let's go ahead and jump into it. First guy that I was looking for, I don't think it really surprises anybody, but Byron Murphy. And actually, before I get into it, Zeron Newton out of Illinois, I was looking forward to seeing him, but he didn't participate. But Byron Murphy, 6'1", 300 pounds. He ran a very good 40. Again, I don't put a whole lot of stock into 40, but he ran very fluid, looked very athletic in the wave drill where they have the guys go back and forth, backpedal, explode forward. He did extremely good. One of my biggest concerns on him is that he did play side by side with Tristan Sweat, another top, first round pick, massive body, caused a double team, but he played side by side of Tristan Sweat, which caused a lot of double teams. If Byron Murphy is going to be the number one guy on that D line for any team, and maybe it's the Raiders, he's going to now draw a lot of double teams. And he's got this move that a lot of the analysts are breaking down. He's got this drop knee move, right? When he gets double teamed, he drops one knee to the ground, gets skinny, and tries to shoot the gap. And in my opinion, I think in the pros, offensive linemen are going to eat that alive. I think they're going to study it. They're going to understand the technique, and they're going to drive his ass in the ground when they see it. And so not sure how well that move is going to work. And if he creates a habit out of it, it's going to be hard for him to get out of that habit if he sees it not working. And so Byron Murphy, I liked what I saw out of him. Again, I have my concerns. I don't know if he'd be my top pick. I like Zeron Newton a little bit better, but I also like one other D lineman, and I'm gonna hit you guys with him as well in just a second. So that's Byron Murphy. Next up, we got Byron Murphy's teammate, which is Tristan Sweat. Tristan Sweat is an absolute monster. 6'4", 366 pounds. He ran a good 40 for his size. Again, looked very fluid. He does have a lot of motion to him that's going to slow him down, but at 366 pounds, I don't expect him to be very fast. Anyways, he is the fifth heaviest player to attend the combine, so he's just an absolute monster. One of my biggest concerns with him is he going to be a three-down lineman? Is he going to be able to sustain all three downs throughout the entire game? And if you're going to pick somebody in the first round, I want you playing all three downs. I want you playing at least 90% of the game. And so that's one of my biggest concerns. Obviously, with him being 6'4", 366 pounds, that's a lot of weight to carry. That's one of my concerns. Let's jump into the next guy that I'm actually pretty excited about. Chris Jenkins, 6'3", 299 pounds. Again, very smooth, very fluid. The wave drill, again, he ran a very good wave drill. You could see his change of direction was really good. One of the things that I looked for in the wave drill was whether or not they started to slow up, anticipate the change of direction, right? They have a coach standing there that's basically funneling them in different directions. And a lot of times I saw guys, they anticipated the change of direction. They started to slow down before the coach moved them into a different direction. He didn't do that. He ran full speed to the point, and as soon as the coach moved him, his in and out of his breaks were extremely good. And so I really liked seeing his performance in the combine out of Chris Jenkins. And so I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see what he can bring. I think he's going to improve his draft stock for sure with the combine performance. And so next up I was looking at is Rukaroro. And so this guy, he's a monster, right? 6'4", 295 pounds. Once he gets the league, he might, tack on another 10 pounds, maybe 15, get him over that 300 mark. He was shockingly fast in the 40 and ran it extremely smooth. Again, I don't put a lot of stock in the 40, but he was very smooth. Great stride. I see him being kind of a sideline-to-sideline D tackle. Quarterbacks are not going to be able to get away from him. It's going to be tough for them to, escape that pocket if he's coming up that middle. And so, and I think he's a great D lineman that's going to that's going to cause double teams. He's going to draw double teams. And so I love to see his hustle through all the drills. He's one of those guys that finished through the line, not out the line. So I love seeing it. His hustle was there. Now he's just a little raw. He's very raw. You can see on the film. He's got to work on his technique. But that's really my only knock on him right now is that he's just raw. And if we get him with a good D-line coach, our D-line coach is really going to coach him up a little bit. I think he has a really good chance to cause havoc, and we can get him in the second round. If we still have a second-round pick, we might be able to get him in the second round. Maybe we'll drop back, acquire some picks, and get him in that mid-second round range. And so I'm excited to see how he performed, which is good. Next up, this is the guy that really disappointed me, McKinley Jackson, out of Texas A&M. He's 6'2", 326 pounds. I wished he would have performed a little bit better. He is one of those guys that he failed to follow directions. He didn't go in the right direction, and he was probably about the 10th lineman to jump up in line. And so the reason why I'm so disappointed that he performed not as good as I expected him to is because, at Texas A&M, they played a lot of three-man front, and when they did, he got double-teamed a lot. Now, one of the great things is he stalemated all the double teams. He never got really driven back. He was able to hold his ground, which is great. And then when they did switch to a four-man front, again, which was very rare, that's where he thrived. When a lot of guys only could go one-on-one against him and he didn't really draw a lot of double teams, that's where his pure athleticism showed. He was able to really penetrate that offensive line and get in the backfield. And even though he didn't perform extremely well when it came to following directions and when it came to really finishing through the line in the combine, you could see his athleticism. His athleticism for a 326-pound man was extremely good. And so he might find himself dropping a little bit. So I could see him being maybe a late round, maybe a fourth round pickup. And I would definitely take him in the fourth round. Again, he's going to draw double teams. He does extremely well against double teams. But if he gets that one-on-one matchup, man, his athleticism can shine and he can really cause some havoc. And so that's McKinley Jackson. Again, we might be able to see him maybe in the later rounds. Now, here's the guy that really pissed me off with his performance, all right? And again, if you guys are liking this content, please like and subscribe, turn those notifications. But my next guy, Braden Fisk. He, in my opinion, I have been high on this guy for the last 2 months, well before the Senior Bowl. He's one of the first guys that I looked at out of Florida State as I'm kind of looking at who the D-line prospects are, and he pisses me off because he performed so damn well. That's why it pisses me off. I think there's a good chance that if we do jump up and pick a quarterback at number 3, or early, I guess. I think we're targeting the number 3 pick. But if we jump up and pick a quarterback, we're not going to have a chance of getting them. And so, but if we stay at 13, there's a chance we could get him. A Byron Murphy, a Tristan Sweat, they might go first. But again, I would be willing to drop back in the draft. I'd be willing to go from 13, drop back a little bit if Braden Fisk is still there, and pick him up. I think he is going to be an absolute stud. I'm going to do a video on him specifically in a couple weeks, as we kind of get rolling with free agency and stuff like that. But I think that Braden Fisk potentially could be the best D lineman come out of this year's draft. His motor is amazing. He fights off double teams. When he gets a hold of you, he doesn't let go. And that's one of the biggest things that I look for in defenders is, do you miss tackles? When you get your hands on guys, are you the one that brings him down or they slip away from you? This guy's tenacity and his want to get to the ball carrier and his athleticism across the board is absolutely amazing. And so I'm just excited. I'm excited for this guy. I think he's going to be one of the best out of the draft. And if we don't jump up and we can drop back a couple spots or get in that mid rounds or the mid first round, maybe even the later first round, compile some picks and pick this guy up, I would be stoked. And so Braden Fisk, he is my top pick in the defensive line group, in my opinion. And so Outside of that, guys, one of the sleepers, Leonard Taylor out of Miami. I really like the way he performed. I'm going to go back and watch more film. I did watch some film of him. One of my concerns is he disappeared at times. Sometimes he was just not on the field. I don't know if he got caught in a rotation, but sometimes I just didn't see him on the field. And so, but I'm going to go back. I think he performed very well. So Leonard Taylor out of Miami, I'm going to go back and look at him. But we got day 2 coming up just in a few hours, guys. You got the corners and the safeties performing. Some of the guys that I'm going to be looking for. You got the top guys, Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Those guys I'd like. Some of the later first rounds, maybe even second round guys is Quinton Mitchell, TJ Tampa out of Iowa, Cam Hart, and one guy that I'm going to be focused on. So take a look at him. Dwight McGlothern out of Arkansas. He's a 6'2", very instinctual player. He is great out of zone coverage. He could work on his man skills a little bit, especially jamming the line. But I think he could be a 4th or 5th round pick out of this corner group that could surprise some people. So Dwight McGlothern out of Arkansas, keep your eye on him. I definitely will. So I appreciate you guys again. Like this video, subscribe, turn those notifications, be included in my giveaway at 2,500 subscribers. But enjoy day 2. Enjoy day 2 of the NFL Combine, and I'll come back on here and give you my feedback on that. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Again, enjoy the second day of the Combine. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out.